What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Atlantic Files, the number one podcast on the number one division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. As always, joined by your host, myself, Alex Fishbein. We got Mike Brooklyn Bash over here. Dennis not with us this week, but Mike, what's going on, man?
Anxiously, watching with the Nets game on and hoping we can, tie this series up. So it was a heartbreaking loss last week, but tax season's over, so that's a good thing. We're gonna have good vibes only right now. So
There you go.
Everything's moving along. How about you?
I'm good. I mean, hey, first two games, Sixers up 2-0, something that actually from the last episode I was a little bit worried about. I didn't think it would start this way or start as well as it has. So, I'm hype. I mean, right now they're struggling a little bit, which I kind of expected being the first game in Toronto, but so I got the game up here. For all of those people that are either just now joining us or listening later on or watching later on, in between topics this week, we're going to have our live reactions and look-ins at these games because they're going on as we speak. I'll probably share the game cast on the screen and everything because due to YouTube and legal reasons, I can't actually live stream the game. So
if Al Horford hits him one more 3-pointer, I'm gonna throw something.
Is Al Horford acting like what's his name does against the Sixers?
Aaron Baines?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh god. So since we're talking about Celtics Nets right now, let's talk about real quick Marcus Smart getting the Defensive Player of the Year because he also arrived to the game in a Defensive Player of the Year robe.
Yeah, but he was forgetting a Y. It just said D. So he's Defensive Player of robe.
Of what? That's the $1 million question. But do you think he should have won? The finalists were him, Mikal Bridges, and Rudy Gobert.
I mean, even Defensive Player of the Year is an award that you can pretty much like give to Rudy Gobert almost every year. Big change of events. Steph Curry with a 3-pointer put the Nets back up 10. But you can give Rudy Gobert that award every year because he's just an unbelievable defensive center. He, blocks shots, changes shots, gets 15 rebounds a game. I think they said that Marcus Smart was the second guard and the first one, obviously, since Gary Payton to win the award. So, well deserved. I mean, he's always been a good player. He's always been a good defensive player, and he finally got recognized. I think he is a little overrated watching the Celtics right now because they just molest the shit out of the Nets players to play defense. So it's clearly, it's subject to change, I guess. But no, it's good. It's good. Congrats to Marcus Smart finally doing something to live up to the number 6 pick in the draft. But good for him.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought Nicholas Claxton should have been Defensive Player of the Year, but that's just me. I'm kidding, of course.
I hope so. All right, so right now it's not letting me share my screen unless I quit Chrome, but I'm not going to quit Chrome because that would shut everything down. So I was just going to show the picture of his robe, which, yeah, it was missing a Y there, and I'm not really sure. Unless it was just that picture that's not showing the Y. I don't know.
No, I saw the robe when they showed it on the screen and it was missing a Y.
Okay. Well, I will throw that in the chat for everybody that would want to see it. So I think that, like you said, Rudy Gobert can always be in the running for it because it's Rudy Gobert. He is a very good defensive player. That's one thing I've never argued with about Rudy Gobert I've always agreed that he's a great defensive player. I've even had him as Defensive Player of the Year multiple seasons. It was always his offense for me that was just god awful. But yeah, I would have rather seen Mikal Bridges win just because, I mean, his team, the number one seed, he was able to do a lot of the defensive things he did without Chris Paul there, who's one of the best defensive guards as well. And he also had, I mean, when you look at the defensive help that Marcus Smart had in the lane with Robert Williams, that's a lot better than the defensive help that Bridges had with DeAndre Ayton. But, I mean, either or, all three of them, I think, definitely deserved it. So I'm not mad at any of them really getting the award. So it is what it is at that point. Tyler commented here a little earlier saying Raptor fans are cancerous. There's been some really sus things that Raptors fans have been tweeting ever since the Scotty Barnes injury. I mean, hey, you never like to see anyone get injured. I love Scotty Barnes, so that was very unfortunate. But the fact that people are saying it's that Joel Embiid did that on purpose is
No, Joel
ridiculous.
Embiid's just a doofus.
The man is just 7'2", so like when he swings his foot out to pivot, it covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, he's just a large human being. That's not you don't. I don't think Joel Embiid purposely spun while spinning, located Scotty Barnes' ankle
Right.
in real time, and said, "I'm going to step on it."
Right.
Like that's just a ridiculous statement.
Yeah, people are taking that way out of proportion. Speaking of which, well, not speaking of which, but we're looking at Celtics Nets right now. Are they in a TV timeout or are they still going?
Well, your Gamecast is ahead of my stream.
Oh, okay. Well, it says Nets timeout. I just saw that now. But
Well, it looks like Jayson Tatum's going to hit this three right here to get it to 68, 70. Nope. Oh, Al Horford with another goddamn three. So, 72, 68.
I literally just saw that as you were saying that. I was like, oh, Al Horford makes 3-point jump shot. Oh, man. That makes Al Horford 3 for 5 on threes tonight with 16 points. Oh, Lord. Daniel Tice is even 5 of 6.
Daniel Tice is a scumbag. He just looks like a scumbag.
I mean, you're right. Daniel Tice, to me, is just... He's a head-scratching type of player because sometimes you look at Daniel Tice and you're like, hey, this guy, he could be pretty good. And then other times you just see him get demolished by almost any center that like shouldn't be demolishing anybody, and then you're like, maybe he's not that great. Oh God. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts of this game so far, though? I've only seen a couple minutes so far because I had our first HOA meeting this morning.
Oh, nice. Well, let's switch to the Sixers Gamecast so that I can at least watch this and think it's live. But the Nets should be up 15 points. They're making stupid plays, and for 2 straight games, Kevin Durant doesn't know how to dribble a basketball. I don't know what's going on with him. Every time he beats his defender, he then goes to rise up for a jump shot and like fumbles the ball. It's happened so many times, which is really starting to, grind my gears, as they say. So now it's a 4-point game, which is not great. I'm nervous. We were up 17, and the Sixers went on a 7-0 run in the half, and now they're down 4. So not ideal, not great. If they can recover and maybe push this back out to like 12, like they had been for most of the first half, that'd be great. But the Nets are missing Ben Simmons. The Nets need Ben Simmons. They need his size. They need his defense. If his back is good enough to play in 5 days, it's good enough to play now.
I mean, It definitely should be. I don't understand. I'm just gonna switch back to the Nets game cast real quick since we're talking about Nets. Um, I just don't understand how they talk about all this stuff he's been doing, all this practice he's been going through, all this like 5-on-5, 3-on-3, 1-on-1, whatever, and all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, he's still not ready, still not ready, still not ready. But then they were saying like he probably wouldn't even show up this postseason at all, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, game 3, game 4, like he'll be ready. it felt like it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, we need him. We need him desperately. Because the Celtics just all they do is mug you on. They don't play defense. They just mug you, and they get away with it. It's ridiculous. How I've never seen a team be so physical and not get called for anything. And like Kevin Durant can't even set a screen. He goes to set a screen and gets shoved.
Yeah, there has been multiple times that I watched, especially in game 1, that it just looks like there's like they're committing murder and there's nothing to be called for, which is actually pretty crazy to me because guys like KD and Kyrie usually get the calls. Those are the people who are going to get the whistle most of the time.
It's frustrating because I see the score change on your screen before I see it on mine. So I'm like, I'm watching this possession knowing we didn't even score.
Well, all right. So in that case, let's go on to one of our next topics here. I want to talk about the Phoenix Suns. So Devin Booker strains his hamstring. He's now out for at least games 3 and 4, they said. New Orleans also won game 2. Do you think New Orleans could pull off the upset?
Are they going to get Zion back?
I don't know. Literally everything about Zion is a mystery, and it like makes no sense when like where all this information is coming from both sides. And then I even saw one thing where it was like Zion and the Pelicans front office disagree with where he's at in his injury status.
If Zion doesn't play, I don't think they'll win the series. But I think they can make it a 6-game series, a very close series. I mean, ever since they got CJ McCollum, they've been a completely different team. And yeah, there was like a stretch where Brandon Ingram was hurt for 10 games or whatever it was. Of course, in a fantasy playoff where I was losing to Dennis when he decided to get hurt. But I think it'll be a good series. Brandon Ingram's a great player. CJ McCollum's obviously a great player, especially in the playoffs. So I don't think the Booker injury does throw a wrench in it, but I think with CP3, with Ayton, with Bridges, I think Phoenix has enough to push through.
Yeah, I mean,
Toronto is absolutely just destroying Philly right now.
Yeah, the Sixers right now are their turnovers are at an all worst of this series. So
they finally called a foul on Jayson Tatum for doing right in front of his son, for doing what he's been doing all series or a game and a half, not letting KD move. KD tries to come and get the ball, he gets like blocked, like he's a defensive lineman going against a left tackle, and they don't call anything. and Tatum's sitting here complaining. No, dude, it's called freedom of movement. You have to let the guy move. They're not letting him move. Like it's unbelievable. Nets are up 7 right now.
Okay.
At least on my screen. I don't know if you have, but
nope, it's showing up 7 as well. So you're either caught up or this went
no. I'm just
right now.
And I'm probably I'm 30 seconds behind ESPN because I'm watching on my computer.
Right. I mean, right now it says the Nets have a 50.6 win percentage for this game. So it's pretty locked even at the moment.
Curry's coming off. Ben Simmons and Balenciaga on the bench.
Oh, of course. Ben Simmons is ready to go to
Fashion Week. Oh my God.
What happened?
Daniel Tice and Marcus Smart just went to go do like a dribble handoff and literally just collided. Like, the ball went flying out of bounds. Let's see what happened. Tice went, ooh. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Marcus Smart's not concussed.
Oh,
I guess
God.
he's not, but it was like there was a nudge by. Oh my God, that's a makeup call. Wow, and now Drummond's probably hurt. Marcus Smart pushed Drummond ran through a screen, but Drummond hit him knee to knee. Now Drummond's hurt.
Oh, I'm trying to see if anyone on Twitter has
It's
put up a video.
okay. He's still in the game, but it's getting
but-
chippy out here in Boston.
Oh, both of these Atlantic matchups, I think, have the ability to be very, very physical because A, they see each other plenty throughout the season, and B, a lot of these, like the Celtics defense, the Raptors defense, both very physical. The Sixers knew that to beat Toronto, they had to come out just as physical. Brooklyn has to come out just as physical as well. So there's definitely plenty to get chippy about. Real quick, I didn't say anything about Devin Booker either, and I still got this up right now. I think it is interesting ever since CJ McCollum joined the team that even their defense got better, especially because CJ's not much of a defensive player. The biggest thing to me is that it is going to come down to whether Ingram and Valanciunas can continue to produce, because DeAndre Ayton can always give a solid 18 and 10 game. Chris Paul is going to give you some of his best games as long as he doesn't get hurt. Mikal Bridges at any point could go off from 3. And then now you're bringing in Cam Johnson, who's probably going to play a little bit more now, who's a good shooter. Cam Payne, I think, is Payne hurt or is he good?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't watch the game last night, so I don't know. Let me see. Got the box score. Payne did play last night, so I guess he's good. He played 17 minutes. So, yeah. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to. Jay Crowder has to learn how to shoot again. I mean, he went 2 for 11.
Didn't he have like a 1-1-1-1 game or something?
Yeah, in game 1, I think it was. The one that they actually won, somehow. So, but then you look at the Pelicans. I mean, Ingram shot 13 of 21. Valanciunas, he was only 4 of 9, but had 13 rebounds. McCollum was 6 of 10 from 3. Larry Nance Jr. had a great game at 13, 6, and 2 off the bench. I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen. Devontae Graham has to step up, though. Devontae Graham has completely disappeared off the face of the earth for this team.
Yeah, I was going to say, I heard, he fell off big time.
Oh, yeah. He was supposed to be their big, guard signing last season. And now he's barely even getting in the game.
Do you see? It's funny when you look at the Nets bench. You have Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge is not even playing.
Oh, I know. Which is crazy to me because I feel like LaMarcus Aldridge could really help, especially offensively.
Nets lead is down to 4. Grant Williams just got an offensive rebound off a free throw and put it in.
Oh, God.
No, it's just frustrating.
That's not something you want to see. I mean,
every time Durant gets fouled, the Celtics complain. It's like watching the Bucks series all over again. Anytime they foul us, they cry.
Oh, God. Tyler said, I forgot Graham was even in the NBA. Exactly. Graham literally just disappeared. It was funny, too, because in fantasy, Deanna had Graham on her team and was doing great for her in the beginning of the season. And then by the time fantasy playoffs rolled around, she had to just drop him because he literally was just non-existent.
But now, was she dropping him or were you running her team?
No, she did most. She only asked me on a handful of occasions, and she asked to confirm. She never asked
oh my God, Durant just missed 2 free throws.
And I will say she has met me in our fantasy championship 2 years in a row.
Well,
So
she's a smarter fantasy basketball player than I would have thought she is. And
she is.
that is a sexist comment coming from me.
Oh, okay. All right. So in that case, let's take a look at the Sixers game. I have the stream up, but I also have the game cast up. Sixers starters are really struggling, not shooting well at all. I mean, Tobias has only taken 3 shots. He's 2 of 3. But Embiid is 1 of 4. Harden's 2 of 5. Everyone on the Sixers starters has a foul, but only a few of Toronto's has one. Let me share the game cast here. So yeah, Sixers are down 12. Still 5:58 left in the second quarter. Still plenty to go, but as of right now, the Sixers just have not looked good. They've looked very slow. They've looked like they're letting it looks like they're letting the crowd get to them too much right now. Which, I mean, if that's what's going to happen, it's pretty much game over. Toronto is a great crowd. So, I guess we'll see what happens. I do respect the fact that Gary Trent Jr. is playing right now, even with his non-COVID illness going on. He's playing much better than he did the last game, which he was listed as doubtful for the last game, but still ended up playing. But yeah, overall, the Sixers just don't look great. And it looks like it definitely looks like the refs are making up for a lot of the fouls called on the Raptors in the first 2 games, and now it's just getting flipped over the other way. But the turnover battle is the big thing. The Sixers have 13 turnovers in only the second quarter. Not just in the second quarter, but through the first 2 quarters. And in the last 2 games combined, they had 17. So that's just frustrating. I also knew Fred VanVleet. It was only a matter of time before he really started getting going. I mean, right now he's 1 of 4, but he does have 6 assists. Siakam has 8 points, 4 rebounds. Anunoby already has 10 points. Gary Trent Jr. has 9. Precious has 8 off the bench. I mean, everything's just firing on all cylinders for Toronto right now. Danny Green is down on the court at this moment. I didn't see what exactly happened there. Oh, Precious just laid a shoulder into him, trying to drive against him. Oh, they actually called an offensive foul. Look at that. Usually they don't do that in that situation. But... only a 2-point game for the Nets.
Yeah, this is going to be coming down to the wire again. I swear to God, I hate Jayson Tatum. Such a pretentious asshole.
But it's crazy looking at the box score right here. Like Kevin Durant 4 of 11, Kyrie 3 of 9, Tatum 3 of 13. But then you got Grant Williams 4 for 4 and also 3 for 3 from 3. Tice is 7 of 8. Bruce Brown is 6 of 9. It's everyone but the stars that are playing well right now.
That's because Durant's getting mauled every time he touches the ball.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do against that. That's for sure.
Like, when are the refs going to start calling something and letting these guys play? Like, letting these guys actually play basketball and not just play like street ball? Because that's what it is. You should be allowed to set a screen. All right, you shouldn't be pushed off your spot trying to set a screen.
Oh yeah, I mean, I completely agree.
You should be allowed to move around without the ball, not have to push through guys to move. Like, there's one thing between guarding a guy and impeding his movement.
Yep. I mean, I completely agree. I've seen plenty of it in both series.
And that's what's happening. Like, we're trying to run our sets and we can't even get guys allowed to move because they're just getting hacked every time they move.
Yeah, there's a lot of, especially when it comes to rebounding and like right after screens, there's a lot of like right after the play pushes that just move guys off their spot. And it never gets called, but it almost always gives the benefit to that team who's doing it. I've seen it. I've seen it with the Raptors and the Sixers. I've seen it with Boston a lot. I saw it a lot with whose game was I watching last night? I saw it a lot with Miami. They're another one that does that a lot. I mean, I know it's like a veteran type of move thing, but hey, at some point you got to call that kind of stuff. So
exactly.
So real quick, let's bring up another topic here. Most improved player of the year. The finalists are Ja Morant, Darius Garland, and do you remember the third one?
DeJounte Murray.
DeJounte Murray.
Not to get off topic real quick.
Okay.
Two people sitting next to each other. The most iconic duo of people. I can't find the picture confirmed, but it looked like it was. Of two people sitting next to each other at the Celtics game.
Mm-hmm.
McLovin and Greg the Egg from Succession.
Oh, God. Are they Boston fans?
I don't know, but they're sitting next to each other at this game.
Oh, God.
Courtside.
That's hilarious. I saw M. Night Shyamalan was courtside at the Sixers game last night. He's one of the most random Sixers fans. I didn't even know he was from the Philly area until he started coming to all these Sixers games the last few seasons. But I'm sure there's plenty more in Boston and Brooklyn. But so when it comes to most improved, Jordan Poole.
Who won it? Or they didn't announce it yet?
They didn't announce the winner. They just announced the finalists. Jordan Poole, Tyrese Maxey, Desmond Bane, all some very popular most improved candidates. Not in the finalist list. Not any one of them. Do you think that one of them should have made it over somebody else? Do you think it's the right finalist list? What do you think?
Here's the thing. Yeah, Jordan Poole went from like the G League to being like a star player for the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
But for, I don't know, 18 weeks of the season, he was a good player. Or not 18 weeks, 15 weeks of the season. He was a good player. And he had some moments where he put up 20-something points or whatever. He had good games. And then obviously like the last 15, 20 games of the season, he went ballistic. I think that was a situation where like if this award, like they probably picked the guys like 3 weeks before the regular season ended, and he had a really strong like last 5 weeks of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if they had picked this award in 3 weeks, he'd be on the list.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Because he definitely had a good season. He definitely improved, but it was like the improvement was like this, right? Like here's the axe. It was like this, and
right.
Then the last quarter of the season, it was like this.
I mean, I definitely see what you're saying. I mean, it's tough. So I brought up the stats here. I mean, I'm kind of surprised Ja Morant's on there. Not to say Ja Morant didn't improve. But let's see. Hold on. What did Tyler say here? Ja shouldn't have been on the list. He was already a star. So that's what I was about to get at here. To me, Ja Morant.
I agree with that.
Yeah, like Ja Morant was the number 2 pick. So in my head, obviously this is never going to be true at any point, but if you're a top 3 pick, I don't think you should qualify for most improved. Because you're expected to be that. So, you're most improved, if you're a top 3 pick, it has to be like you improve from a star to like MVP. And Ja Morant, while people did like sometimes throw in like, hey, he could be MVP, the team actually did very well without him. And he still was nowhere near like a true MVP candidate. DeJounte Murray, I definitely think he deserved to be up there. I mean, he almost averaged a triple-double on top of almost the least amount of turnovers per game in this list, especially for the guys who are handling the ball as much as he did. And he also had 2 steals a game, which is crazy. Darius Garland, I also think he deserves to be a finalist. So honestly, it comes down to that Ja Morant spot. And I mean, Jordan Poole, hey, 18, 3, 4 a game, 44% from the floor, 36% from 3, 92.5% free throw shooter. Ja Morant's only shooting 76% from the line. I mean, and on top of it, we always talk about when it comes to MVP, when it comes to defensive player of the year, when it comes to sixth man of the year, we talk about people who are hurt. Ja Morant only played 57 games. These guys all played 68 plus. And some of these guys are getting up to like not points. Like Ja Morant is obviously the leader out of these guys in points by far because he's also like the highest used player. Well, actually, maybe it might be Darius Garland, but the rest of the stats, these guys are putting up very similar to Ja Morant in less minutes.
Yeah.
So
I just don't think it goes back to your original point. I don't know. I don't understand. Like, how is Ja Morant on that list? Like, wasn't Ja Morant an All-Star last year?
No, this year was his first All-Star selection.
Oh, okay.
He was Rookie of the Year though last year.
By the way, Philly cut the lead down to 6.
Thank God.
Durant's at the free throw line, shooting 2 free throws right now, up 5. But yeah, no, I don't think Morant belongs on that list. Not that he didn't improve, but he's already like he's the number 2 pick in the draft. Like he was already a star player
and Rookie of the Year.
Like how do you like, exactly? Like how do you improve? How do you get most improved from Rookie of the Year?
Exactly. And like Darius Garland wasn't in that conversation, and now 21 points, 8 assists a game. Also led Cleveland to the playoffs when nobody expected them to even be close to the playoffs.
I did.
Well, I mean, other than you. Actually, other than you and Dennis. DeJounte Murray also got San Antonio into the play-in game and everything. Jordan Poole, we just saw what he did in the first 2 games of the playoffs. And then Tyrese Maxey, a guy that we barely even talked about right now, he went from like 30% three-point shooting to the 3rd highest three-point percentage in the league. On top of the fact that
who went to 3rd highest?
Tyrese Maxey.
Wow, I didn't realize he was shooting that high of a percentage.
42.7% from 3. None of these other guys on the list are even at 40%. And then he also has the 2nd highest field goal percentage at 48.5, second only to Ja Morant at 49.3. But puts up 17.5 points, 3.2 rebounds, 4.3 assists a game. Also the lowest amount of turnovers, only 1.2 turnovers a game. And really...
By the way, do you have like a StatMuse membership?
No, I just search these things and it comes right up.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yeah, StatMuse is easy now because they're still free at the moment. I hope you guys stay free, by the way. Yeah, you just search stuff in the search bar and you can pull stuff up like this. And the thing is, Basketball Reference, when you do all the player comparisons, it costs money now. You have to be like a member to do more than 2 players at a time. Yeah. You have to be a member of their like sports reference thing, and it's like $8 a month.
Screw that.
Yeah. So that's why I don't really use Basketball Reference anymore. Not to say I don't like support those guys. Like they do a great job, but I'm paying for too many things.
Exactly.
But yeah, so at least we both agree. John Morant, I don't think should be in there. A lot of people will probably disagree with that, but you know what? I really don't care. He's expected to be what he is right now. So, all right, end of the third.
Nets
Brooklyn up 5. How you feeling right now?
If they can get it up to 10 or 12, I think they'll be fine. If this gets down to 1 possession game in the last few minutes, not good.
Okay, you're getting
Because
too
the
many
ref,
flashbacks.
well, no, it's the refs are just not gonna call out the Celtics on their physical defense, and they have too many guys where like Tatum and Brown and Smart apparently now. Like you give these guys like an inch and they can hit a 3.
Oh yeah, I mean the Celtics do have some shooters, but it's funny because Jaylen Brown, who usually is decent, is 0 for 3 from 3.
I'm looking at this. I think it's Papa John's stuffed crust pizza. Or what is this? Pizza
No,
Hut?
Pizza Hut.
No, it's Papa John's. Epic stuffed crust pizza.
Papa John's has stuffed crust now?
Yeah. I gotta go get some Papa John's.
I'm not a big Papa John's guy. I remember Pizza Hut when they first introduced crust, and that stuff was crazy. But I'm not a. I mean, Papa John's is decent. I'll get it if it's like one of the places that are around, but not my first choice. Still gonna go Domino's first. When it comes to chain places, if it's not a local places still make the best pizza. Well, I mean, it also depends.
I'd rather a local place pizza than Domino's or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I definitely go local before I start going to the chains, especially if I know where the local places are. But yeah, so, looks like the fourth quarter just started. Seth Curry, 27-foot 3-point jumper.
You're ahead of me.
Well, there you go. He hit a 3.
So they're up
8. They're up 8 now.
Okay.
The Sixers are at halftime right now. Toronto is up 10. They're up 56-46. I'm actually surprised that the Sixers are only down 10. That could be looked at as both good and bad for Philly because they definitely should be down by much more. So the fact that there's only 10-point difference going into the second half, I mean, I feel okay about it, but I don't feel that great. I do have a parlay saying Sixers with the money line, so we'll see how that turns out. But okay, so one more quick topic here. I want to talk about your boy.
Jokic?
Your MVP.
Nikola?
Jokic. He got ejected last game, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got 2 techs, I think. And then first game, he got pretty pissed off. Warriors blew them out both times. Steph Curry came off the bench. Jordan Poole went crazy. Clay playing a great game. I saw a stat about like Draymond Green covering Jokic, and it does not look great for Jokic in those stats.
Well, he's the only guy in the team right now. The whole team is injured. No Jamal Murray, no Michael Porter Jr., Will Barton, is his second option, or I guess Aaron Gordon.
I mean,
Nick Claxton absolutely shutting down Jaylen Brown.
I understand that Jokic is like the only guy, but that was a big thing that everyone said. Everyone said he makes his teammates better. His teammates have been playing a lot better because of him. But now they're not playing better?
Well, they are, but it's the playoffs.
I mean, I get it. But this is the stat that I saw. So, when guarded by Draymond Green in Game 1 and 2, Jokic is 9 of 28 from the field, 0 of 8 from 3 with 3 turnovers. Oh, and 3 assists. So, I will say this. if Draymond was healthy this season, he probably would have won Defensive Player of the Year. Because, I mean, he's doing that against the guy that looks like he's probably going to win another MVP. So.
Damn. Peyton Pritchard just hit Claxton with a little Michael Jordan on Byron Russell, free throw line, push, rise up.
Of course, it's Peyton Pritchard of all people.
Yeah.
But so, what do you think about Denver? Do you think they could do anything? Do you think it's a sweep?
Oh, are they playing again? Golden State. Not the way Golden State's playing.
I mean, yeah, the fact that Jordan Poole, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson are all just on fire, like, how do you beat that? Like, you really just can't beat that at all. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a sweep, to be honest.
Yeah. No, they're playing well. Watch out for them in the West. What seed? What is that? Is that the 4-5?
That is the 3-6, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I think. Yeah, because Memphis, Minnesota is 2-7. And then Dallas. Oh, wait. No, Dallas, Utah is 4-5. So, yeah, Golden State, Denver is the 3-6.
Okay.
But since there's a timeout, speaking of Dallas and Utah, let's talk about the Utah Jazz real quick. Should they just blow it up? Because to me, I texted you and Dennis this. It's pretty sad that they really dropped the game to Dallas without Luka Doncic. They also don't have Tim Hardaway Jr. I mean, he's been out for a lot of the season now. But neither of those guys. Brunson puts up 41 points. And they lose to Dallas when these are the two. Because it sounds like Doncic is supposed to come back for game 3. So those are the two games, especially away from home, that you needed to win. And that's 1-1. Dallas probably feels good about it because they didn't have Luka. To me, Utah looks in trouble.
Yeah, I think their days with the big two that they got there is numbered, and it's a shame because they were a great team they had there, but it's an Donovan Mitchell is a good player, but he's not a championship leader of a championship team level player.
I can see that.
Gobert is a great player, but he's limited offensively. So you have one star option on that team in Donovan Mitchell. You have some good veterans in Conley and Bogdanovich. And then you got good mix of role players to Clarkson and O'Neal and whatever else they got there. I can't think right now. But they just don't have it's good in the regular season because they have 8 guys that can play well. Mm-hmm. But in the playoffs, it's not. They just don't have. You need a Tatum. You need a Durant. You need a Kawhi or even DeRozan right now. But you need that star, not a. You need a superstar, not a star plus, which is what I think Donovan Mitchell is.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And the fact that it's Utah means if they're in any sort of bidding war for a free agent, they're probably not picking Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the team that they have a good team. But if Utah's in a bidding war with Miami, who the hell is going to pick Utah over living in Miami?
Maybe if Jimmer Fredette was a star.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I've constantly said this team is a regular season team, and I will never have trust in them in the playoffs. Last night, there was a clip of, I think it was either last night or 2 nights ago, there was a clip of just Rudy Gobert like pretty much falling over in the post and just losing the ball. And I tweeted and I was like, this is exactly why people clown Rudy Gobert. And there was Jazz fans tweeting me back saying, no, it's because he's on Utah, he's French, and he's a defensive player. That people don't clown him for this. And I'm like, you're saying people clown him more for being French than not being good at offense? What? I was so confused. I was like, no, people clown him because he literally can't play offense.
Yeah.
I don't care that he's French. I care that he can actually get a bucket in a playoff game. And he can't. Oh, God. But, yeah. Utah, they unless, barring some magical run, they need to just blow it up. It just... Yeah. If I was Donovan Mitchell, I would just demand a trade right after if they lose. Just right off the rip. But let's go back to Celtics Nets because we got a 2-point game.
No, but it's tied unless the Celtics took the lead.
The Celtics did take the lead.
All right. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna have to end this because I need to be in. It's fucking Pete and Pritchard, really. I need to be in alone to watch this last 7.5 minutes.
All right. We will leave you alone. I think we got through all of our topics anyway. One last topic real quick. Nick Nurse and the Raptors complaining about calls a lot. A lot of people complaining about Joel Embiid being a, quote, foul merchant. Where did that even come from? I've never seen foul merchant used ever until like this season, and it was like just recently this season that all of a sudden people are foul merchants, even though plenty of people flop and try to get calls for fouls. So I don't know where that's coming from, but in that case, Nick Nurse needs to stop bitching. Plain and simple. They're going to get some foul calls. Sixers are going to get some foul calls. Obviously, the Sixers have Joel Embiid and James Harden, two superstars that just get foul calls. Just like Kevin Durant and Kyrie should be getting foul calls. Just like Jayson Tatum should be getting foul calls. Those are all the things that happen in the NBA. That has always happened. And my favorite thing about Raptors fans saying that is Kyle Lowry is a player that they love. He's one of their favorite sons of Toronto. And last night, this man really did this. Did you see this?
No, I did not. But I'm gonna end this because this is getting stressful.
All right. But anyway, yeah, they love this guy Lowry, and he's over here doing stuff like this, which is just ridiculous. But that's it for us. We gotta let Mike focus. We gotta let Mike get in his lucky chair, his lucky shirt, his lucky everything. Thank you everybody for listening. You can drop off if you want to. I can finish this by myself.
Bye.
See ya. Thank you everybody for listening and watching another episode of the Atlantic Files. For those of you who are still with us, as we are signing off, it is 99-94 Boston. So that's why Mike had to jump off because, yeah, he's he's stressed. Sixers and Raptors still at halftime. That's a 10-point game. But like I said, that's it for us. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening to another episode of The Atlantic Files, the #1 podcast in the #1 division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. Check if you are on YouTube. Check below. You'll find all of our links for social medias, everything. Please, please, please share this podcast with a friend. It would be great, with the help of all of you, to get us on the top charts again. We used to be on the top 200 charts pretty often in podcasts. But then a lot more basketball podcasts just started popping up. So that would be great. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications when we go live for each episode each week. Thank you, everybody, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.